Hello, thank you for attending this training on how to initiate a GivingMatters.com profile for your nonprofit organization. This is Kathryn Bennett, the GivingMatters.com manager, and in this training, we're going to talk about why you would want to set up a profile for your organization and how that process works. And then at the end, we'll kind of walk through a new profile and all the sections you'll want to be sure to pay attention to as you work your way through completing it. GivingMatters.com is an initiative of the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee. It's a requirement for participating in many of our initiatives, like our annual 24-hour online giving day, the Big Payback, and our annual discretionary grant. It's also a requirement for the grants of many local funders. So chances are, if you are hoping to receive a grant from a Middle Tennessee funder, you are going to need to have a complete, up-to-date Giving Matters profile for your organization. Having a profile is completely free. There's no paywall or fees ever, but it does take work to get the profile set up and then to keep it up to date throughout the year. It's really an important tool and can help your organization in many ways. While it is a requirement for grant opportunities, it's also a great way to share the story of your organization, to recruit new board members, to house your financial documents. There are so many different ways that your organization can benefit from setting up and maintaining a Giving Matters profile. In order to get started, we require a list of documents that you will collect and send to our team. We're going to need your IRS 501c3 letter to confirm that you are in fact a 501c3 public charity. We'll need your charitable solicitations permit from the state of Tennessee. This is something that you should file annually with the Secretary of State's office. You either qualify for a permit or an exemption, depending on your size. If you have any questions, we do list their phone number here. I would definitely recommend giving them a call if you're not sure how to get started or which bucket your organization would fall into. But this is a requirement for having a profile on our site. We ask that you send us your bylaws as well as a current organizational budget. This budget needs to cover your projected income and expenses for your current fiscal year. A lot of times when new organizations come to us and they want to set up a profile, they'll say they don't have a budget. That is not an acceptable answer. You definitely need to have a budget and create one if you haven't already. Because it's important if you're asking an individual to support you or a funder to support you, they're going to want to know your plan for raising money as well as your plan for how you're going to spend money. A budget can be a great tool for explaining how your organization functions and all of the different programs that you have, and can help to show the cost and the importance of that work. And so it's important to put together a strong budget that's really clear and easy to follow. If you have Form 990s or audited financials, we'll need those for at least the last 3 years. If you're a new organization or you're a smaller organization and you aren't required to prepare an audit each year, just be sure to let us know. And we will work with you to make sure we have everything that you need. We don't require you to prepare an audit just for the purpose of a Giving Matters profile. We would only need you to supply it if you do have one. And then finally, there are 2 forms, the nonprofit information form and the profile acknowledgement form, which you can download here. That will just give us some supplemental information about your organization and confirm that you are willing to have your information posted on our website. All profiles are publicly viewable to anyone who would be interested in learning more about you. So we just need you to sign off on that. Once you've collected all of these documents, you'll send them to us. If you can email them, emailing them as PDFs to this givingmatters@cfmt.org email address is preferable, but you can also send them to the Community Foundation, to our office, and that information is listed here at the bottom of the page. Once you submit all of those documents, Someone from the Giving Matters team will build your profile and we'll fill it out as much as we can using the information that you've submitted. We'll include, your basic contact information and your financial documents, and then we'll turn the profile over to your organization to fill out the rest. You'll enter things like your list of board members, your program descriptions, and any multimedia that you'd like to include. And that process, we give you 8 weeks to complete the profile once it's been initiated. If it's not able to be completed within that 8-week period, then it would be removed from the public facing side of the website, but it would still live on in the database. So that way you can log in when you do have the ability to finish it. And then once it's complete, it would be published again. Some organizations have been able to turn around a new profile in a day or two. Some need the full 8 weeks, some need longer. It really varies by organization. So just be sure to communicate with our team because we're here to assist you. And whatever you need to complete the profile, we're here to help. So now we're going to take a look at actually, what it means to log in and fill out a profile. You'll be assigned a username and password during the profile initiation process. So to access your profile, you'll log in as a nonprofit. And once you're logged in, you'll land on a dashboard that looks like this. There are 2 ways that you can access your profile to go and fill it out. You can click on this My CFMT profile header, or you can click on this Update My Profile button that's located here in this upper right corner. Once you are here, you will use this menu bar on the left side of your screen to navigate through the different pages of the profile. The first one we'll land on is general information. When you first receive your profile, once it's been initiated, you'll see that this page has already been filled out using the information that you supplied in the nonprofit information form. You're welcome to go in and edit it if there are changes that need to be made or if there's additional information to provide. But here we're looking for your website, your phone number, email addresses, any kind of contact info that would need to be shared. We also have the ability to link to your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube pages if you have those. If you'd like to share ways that someone could get involved in your organization, maybe volunteer for your organization, you can include that information here as well. When you're finished filling out this page, you'll click Save and move on to the next page. Statements and search. This is where you'll include things like your mission statement, any background, impact, or needs that you would like to share. This is a narrative section. It's really for you to share your stories and make a compelling case for your organization and why someone would want to support you. There are also some fields here at the bottom that control which searches your organization would show up in if someone were visiting givingmatters.com and looking for organizations, maybe by issue area or by keyword. And so you can, our team will have already selected some of this information, but as with the general information page, you're welcome to make any edits or add more info. The next section that you'll want to fill out would be your programs. You have the ability to list up to 5 programs on your public profile. You can add more here using this Add New Program button, and then you can select which 5 you would like to be active or publicly viewable. So that way, if you do have multiple programs at your organization and you want to highlight different ones throughout the year, you can control that here. One best practice to consider would be if you are applying for a grant in support of a particular program, make sure that you have it listed as active. And so that way, if a funder is looking at your profile for more information, they can learn more about that program. When you add a new program, You have lots of fields that are available to you. I would like to point out that not all of them are required. You'll see required fields are marked with this red asterisk. So you do have to give the program a name and a description. And then there are additional fields that you can fill out. And I think if you do have the ability, if you are tracking this data for a program, I think it's helpful to share it. So that way, you have a really comprehensive look at the program and who it's serving, and how you're tracking that success. So you can include your target population, how you're measuring long-term and short-term success, examples of program success. There's lots of information you can include here. And you're also welcome to, as you're going through this initial stage of filling out the profile, focusing on those required fields only, and then coming back in later and really beefing it up and adding more information. I know sometimes you might need to track down additional info from other departments, or maybe other board members. So you might not have it all available during the profile initiation period, but you're welcome to later on in the year go in and add more info. The next section we'll look at is governance. This section contains information on your board. And as you can see here on our left-hand menu bar, there are two different pages or subpages that we'll want to look at. And so first, under basic info, we'll enter the name of our board chair. If you have a board co-chair, you'll enter that information. There's going to be questions about your board terms, the makeup of your board in terms of ethnicity and gender, and some questions as well about board selection criteria and conflict of interest policies. This is another example of, these questions are required, but perhaps as your organization grows and evolves, your answer to the question might change. So maybe at the time you're setting up the profile, you don't have a conflict of interest policy in place. So you would maybe select no or under development, but maybe, a year from that time, you have developed a conflict of interest policy, so you can come back and change that answer to yes. Under governance details, this is where you'll add your list of board members, which you'll do by clicking the add board member button. If you're a large organization and you have multiple boards, maybe you have an advisory board or a young professionals board, you can add all of those lists here as well. The management section is set up in a similar way. The first page, you'll list the name of your executive director. There are some questions about the structure of your organization and the makeup of your staff. There are more questions about policies and procedures that your organization might have in place. They're based on best practices. So again, if you don't have one at the time of profile initiation, or maybe it's under development, you can always go back and change your answer to yes if that answer changes. And under management details, you have the ability to list any senior staff that you would want to highlight, any former executive directors, things like if you're part of, affiliations or have any accreditations, awards, things that you would want to highlight, you can do that here. Financials, this is where we house all of the financial documents that you submitted during profile initiation. Our team will go ahead and upload those for you, your budget, your 990s, your charitable solicitation permit. So there shouldn't be too much that you would need to add here when you're completing your profile, but definitely give it a look, make sure everything is correct. And then this is where you'll spend a lot of time in the future when it's time to complete your annual update, coming in and making sure that you're uploading your new 990 and your new budget and new charitable solicitations permit each year. When you have new versions of those documents, you'll come here to upload them. There's also under this basic info page, there are sections on if your organization has an endowment and if your organization has a capital campaign. So if those do apply to your organization, then you can select yes and answer those additional questions there. And if you do have a capital campaign or you anticipate a capital campaign, I would definitely recommend filling out this section here with as much information as possible, because then you can be included in the givingmatters.com annual capital campaign report that we distribute to funders here locally and outside of Middle Tennessee that look to serve projects here in our community. The last section that you'll fill out is multimedia. This is where you can upload your organization's logo. You can add photos and videos. If you'd like to add a multimedia entry, you can select picture and select the file, or you can select YouTube video and drop in the URL from YouTube. It does have to be hosted on YouTube in order to show up. But this is a great way to, highlight successes of your organization, to share more stories. Storytelling is a really compelling tool, and I think that is a huge asset of Giving Matters, because you can share video and photos that highlight your work, but then you also have the financial documents and the data and all of the more structural pieces of your organization to highlight that work as well. So it's very encompassing of your work and shows every aspect of the great work that you do to support our community. The majority of the changes, once you click that save button at the bottom of a page, it'll automatically publish to your public profile. You do have to make sure that all of the required fields on a page have been filled out in order to save changes. If you have a required field that is blank when you try to click save, you will get an error message, so that way you can go and address that field. But like I said, as long as all of the required ones are filled out and you've saved your changes, you can move, throughout the different pages and the different sections, and you can come back at a later date to address those fields that aren't required, or maybe ones that you would want to elaborate on. There are a few fields, mainly here on this financials page, that do require the approval of the Giving Matters staff. And so if you upload a financial document, it won't automatically publish, but it will automatically be sent to our team to review. So there's no submit changes button or anything you have to do there. It'll automatically do what it's supposed to do. But if you ever have questions or want to verify that something came through, you're always welcome to reach us at givingmatters@cfmt.org. You can also locate your coach's information here, my profile coach. You can find the email address that will go directly to that person. We do have several other training videos on Giving Matters that walk you through different elements of your profile and the benefits of having a profile. So I would definitely recommend checking those out while you're here. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.